Hello, folks. All right. we could. All right.
Wow.
That was awful.
I'm surprised to see you here.
Hello, folks. Welcome to the Wrecking Crew Comedy Podcast with Vito D'Amico.
I'm Mark Arts.
And we're brought to you by Majestic Garage. Please check them out on Facebook and like us on Facebook. Today we've gotten a fantastic guest, Brain Sapient, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Yep.
Exciting.
He's the founder and president at Rational Response Squad. He's the big kahuna. He went up against, well, he gave him a fucking beating, Kirk Cameron and Ray Comfort on Dateline, NBC with the very beautiful Kelly O'Connor. I don't know if he's dating her or whatever. I don't know if I should, she's pretty though, eh?
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you bring that up?
I don't think it's that important.
All right, okay. Anyways,
I know you're like
you just go. You go. Have you ever seen her naked? You say that, I'll go. Mark, don't. And
No.
just he'll get all fucked up, and he'll go. Yeah, I'm kind of doing her.
He's gonna hang up.
Yeah. So let's not do that. He's gone up against some. There's a famous call that whenever I'm bored, I put on, and I love it. A lot of people think I watch porn, which I do, but I watch porn and the debates, like the atheist versus Christian debate, and it's
fascinating.
It's because it's crazy.
If you could combine the two, in some way.
Well, if they were both naked fucking each other, that would be fantastic.
Right.
But the creationists wouldn't believe you. They would, you know what I mean?
I think that's what a lot of your religious types around here think they're going to do in the schools now that they changed the program for the sex ed.
What's sex ed?
Well, they're going to teach kids about sex.
Right.
But a lot of people are going bonkers. They're all up in arms about my precious little child.
Right.
Shouldn't know what a wee-wee is.
Really?
There's a lot of that shit. They
didn't really teach us.
It's not like, remember that Monty Python bit where the teacher brings his wife in the classroom and he's like, banging his wife on the desk, and he's like, "What's funny, Biggs?"
That. Yeah, I remember that.
Well, if only, but I think that's what people think they're going to do, and they couldn't be more wrong, of course. I mean, duh.
But people are worried that I don't know. They teach kids not to get pregnant. When we're kids, we still screwed, but we never. It was like, don't get her pregnant.
Yeah,
or,
I don't want to be a daddy. I don't
want to be a dad.
But I like to bust a nut.
I broke up with a girl because she was like, let's do it, and I didn't. I was just, honestly, and I didn't do her. Everybody else did, but I didn't because I thought, no, I don't want to get her pregnant. And then I find out later she was quite the pig, which pissed me off.
Right.
But
so you thought you were special.
No, I didn't want a kid, and I kept thinking if I have sex with her again, I was 14 at the time.
And it's not that. It's not like they're going to give graphic details to an 8-year-old kid.
Well,
but you know what's really sick about it?
How did you learn back then?
I had 3 older brothers.
Right, but they always run up to you going, "Smell my finger." Remember that?
Exactly. It wasn't like and it's, I don't know. There's this idea that it's all bad and dirty and whatever. And you know what's sick about it is that what I'm hearing it from a lot is the Mennonite community in Elmer and in that area. And they're up in arms because they're teaching this in the schools, and they've got websites and shit like that.
Oh,
there he is.
There he is. Hold on. Brian, you there? All right, hold on. Give me 1 sec here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Brain Sapient, everybody. Yay, Brian.
Oh, there you go.
Good. Thank you so much for calling. I really appreciate it. We've had some horrible fucking weather, and it's just a gloomy day, and you've brightened it, Brian. Thank you so much.
No problem. Like I said, thanks for having me.
No, I know you're super busy, and before you called, I was explaining that you are the president at Rational Response Squad. You and a team of, you've got a team of guys. You've got Kelly O'Connor there, and I forget the other guy's name, sorry, but they all know the Bible.
Yeah, definitely. The Rational Response Squad was originally formed in order to, I believe that if a religious person talks to me, I 100% can show him, or at least prove to a objective onlooker, that this person's religious beliefs aren't true. However, I don't know everything, so there's plenty of times where the person will stump me just because it's something that I don't happen to know. But I've seen enough arguments and believe that there's somebody out there that does know. And so what we tried to do when we started the group was to kind of find somebody that was specialized in everything. And obviously you need Bible geeks there. So we have plenty of them. And I mean, I've read the Bible, 2 different versions of it, but it kind of goes in one ear and out the other for me.
Right.
A little dry.
A little bit better.
Well, I could barely, you know, Mark, I can't fucking write or spell or any of that.
You can't sit still for 5 minutes.
But what bothers me, though, Brian, is the apologists that you have. Like, how do you know? That's what bothers me, is the arrogance. How do you know? Like, why do I need you to tell me? If I read the Bible, it should be for stupid people, right? You should. It should say, hey, this is 100% proof that I exist, and there shouldn't be a guy sitting there saying. One of my favorite, and I listened to it about 10 times, and it's one of my favorite. It's when you went up against Matt Slick. You guys absolutely made him look. I think he looked foolish, and he looked like he was playing a game where he would play this just a childish kind of. He would pick one word. I didn't say that, and who's speaking right now? And hey, Borg. You know, and okay, I'll call you Borg. Like he didn't know what the fuck that meant, you know. And it was just, he just kept playing this silly game with you that I just thought. Are you there, Bri?
Yeah, forgive me. The Android phone, it thinks it knows all, but it doesn't understand. Don't interrupt me.
Oh no, that's fine. It kind of freaked me. I thought you were with a chick, and I was like, Bri.
It's an important event to talk to you guys.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So, but I don't like just watching him and watching him in other debates. I just realized this guy's playing this foolish game of, I know everything and you don't,
Yeah.
and that to me is creepy.
Well, he's part of a group of people that probably the most frustrating to me, because your typical, not extremely intelligent, 120 IQ.
Right.
I guess medium intelligence, I should say. Maybe even a college graduate, but somebody who just doesn't research religion.
Right.
Matt Slick sounds smart to you.
Right.
And you just might not know because you haven't taken the time to really get into his arguments. And so when he sounds smart, you think he's probably onto something. And then when he starts using these little, what appear to be childish arguments to you and I, because we know better, to other people, it might look like, that's the argument. He's
right.
He's winning now, because of one little sticking point that he manages to find. But I knew, with Slick, I went way back with him. So before we did the interview with him, I already knew what he was going to get into. And he sort of, some of them, they're all kind of scripted. I don't know if you remember with the Kirk, Cameron, Ray Comfort
yes.
debate.
Mm-hmm.
I was calling out some of Ray's arguments before he made them.
Right.
When he says, "Do you have faith in history books?" I know he's going to say that before he says it. He says it in every debate.
Right.
It's like, well, come on, that's not how history works, dumbass.
Yeah.
Well, one of my
books.
One of my favorite parts was when when he said Crockoduck, and your face was just you had that look on your face like, hey, does anybody got a pail full of fish I could shoot? I mean, it just looked absolute, like it was precious,
I'm not sure which version you saw, but the version that actually went on TV has me saying, "What a numbnut" under my breath.
Yeah. No, I've seen both. And
the producer of ABC, after the fact, when I talked to him, he like, I was frustrated with a couple of the points of the way they portrayed it. Although it was relatively fair. and he was like, his big point to me was like, yeah, but did you hear that I raised the volume on you saying what a numbnut? I was like that. Actually, I did.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Somebody
But yeah,
on your
that
side.
was a fantastic debate, and Kurt just, I don't know, like he seemed like one of those. Well, remember when he said he used to be an atheist, and then he found God when he started the show, and he fucked up everybody else's career on that show because he found God and he couldn't do this and couldn't do that. And to me, I'm thinking you were never really an atheist. Like you never really.
No, he was a teenage kid.
You were a kid, and I think when guys like Matt and even a guy, you've heard of the Cy Tendon,
Bruggenkite.
yeah, he who will not be named, that fucking yo-yo. When those guys use fancy words on kids, they're like these cool riddles, and if you're a kid, you'll
Right.
think, hey man, this guy, he knows what he's talking
That's
about.
some deep shit.
Hey,
right
that's
there.
some deep shit he's talking about. But we've seen the world. Like I'm 45 now. I've seen it. I've read it. I've seen these things where when you talk to me like that, I'm going to question you about it.
It's frustrating to watch because don't you think that their argument really isn't about information? It's more about like the argument, like having an argument.
Well, I mean, I think that they actually, believe these things, and I think that, there's some people who maybe make a career out of it. We do know that there are some priests that are in the closet atheists.
No, they're more than that.
There's about 60 priests right now in the country
Yeah.
who, on any given Sunday, would be delivering a service who are in the closet atheists.
Yeah.
Who are out basically to each other in sort of an anonymous forum. And the only reason we really know that number is because we get it from a couple of the priests who are out of the closet and have, come forward and are have left the church. My point is that there are a few guys that are, if there's 60 that are, behind the scenes taking your money, there's probably a bunch more that are actually just
Oh yeah.
taking your money.
Yeah, like do you believe that remember like a Ted Haggard or even a Ray Comfort? I'm not, and I don't mean he's gay by any means. I mean, like an Eric Hovind kind of guy? I think like an Eric Hovind kind of guy knows it's bullshit and just like with Cy 10, he just seems like he's fucked in the head, and he loves the attention people are giving him. But these guys, it just seems like it's all about money. And if you did know the secret of life and blah blah, you shouldn't charge people for it. You should
Yeah.
That should be free for you.
I get that vibe from William Lane Craig too. Like he gives me
Right.
that feeling for sure. Like it just spinning a bunch of shit. Using pseudoscience or whatever it is.
Right.
He's got buddies that are scientists and he throws numbers and statistics and shit out there.
Well,
and and it's like you said, Brian. They make it sound to somebody who's maybe not paying attention that they know what they're talking about.
Well, and kind of on this point here, these guys are either intelligent or, and let's say if they are intelligent, if they're intelligent enough that they really are processing what they're getting, then they're either lying to their people or they're delusional.
Yeah.
You said something about like it seems like they're crazy. Well, I mean that's the argument we make, that theism is a mental disorder.
Right.
And so it manifests itself in a lot of different ways. But Ray Comfort has gone over this information enough that he's either extremely stupid, he's a pathological liar, or he has a mental problem.
Yeah.
He needs,
Yeah.
he should be treated for grandiose delusional disorder. And when they finally do put theism in the DSM-MV, I hope by the DSM, I hope I'm alive to see it because it'll be there someday.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
They put video game addiction in the DSM as a mental disorder.
Right.
Theism isn't far behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I was, I don't know if I'm atheist or I don't know, Brian, and I don't know. I don't want to say I point more to the atheism I don't know if you call it
Agnostic.
whatever. I can't even fucking say that word. But I don't know, and I'm not going to sit there and tell you I know. Okay? And to me, no one knows 100%. That's just, to me,
Well,
you can't.
yeah, right.
You can't. And when people make money off of, hey, I know, and this is the only way, and when you hear guys like that, and you're thinking, I love the argument. I forget who it was that said, well, what about the 1 billion Muslims? Or what about the Buddhists? They're all wrong, but you got it right. I think it was Michael Shermer. Michael Shermer said that. He goes,
I mean, at the bare minimum, religious people need to admit that there's a lot of people that are wrong out there, and why couldn't it be them?
right.
Right.
Just to go back a sec, I understand what you just said about, you don't know, and you're not sure. I think it sounded almost like you don't want to use the term atheist to describe yourself, and I was there for a long time.
Yeah.
And the term atheist is misconstrued by religious people in an attempt to kind of segregate us. So
Right.
that there's two groups, agnostics and atheists. But the truth of the matter is, every person who's an agnostic is either an atheist or a theist when you look at the actual definitions of the word.
Right.
So somebody is, if they're a theist, they have a positive belief in a God.
Right.
And somebody who is without that theism, because you have that root A without, is not without a positive belief in a God. So you have people that are with a positive belief in a God. So if I ask you, do you believe in a God? I believe the answer currently is I don't have a belief in a God. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so without a belief in a God, you are therefore without theism, and you're an atheist who's
Right.
without theism. Now, separately from that, obviously, as you know, there are some atheists who might say something crazy like, I know for sure there's no God. And
Right.
maybe they have some sort of semantical argument for that, like, for example, God can't be defined properly, or every God that has been posed to me can't possibly exist. And we can kind of look at, like, the Bible and say, well, you know what, there's so many contradictions, this God can't possibly exist. We can do that.
Right.
But what we can't do is say, well, maybe there's some God that we don't know about yet. I mean, that's where you and I would say, I don't know everything. And that therefore makes us agnostic.
Right.
Agnosticism has something to do with knowledge. So that root gnosis means knowledge, and we're just claiming that we're without full knowledge of a first cause of the universe.
Right.
And there are people who claim to be with that knowledge. Of course, they're crazy. And those are people who would claim to be Gnostic. And so you have somebody like myself who is an agnostic atheist. If you think of it like this, because people are scared of the term, there are plenty of other descriptors that describe you. You're a male. You probably belong to some sort of political party, or you favor some sort of political party, whatever that party would be.
Right.
Maybe you're an environmentalist, or you're not. And so there's multiple terms that can describe you in the religious debate. And from the sounds of it, you're an agnostic atheist. You don't have to use that term if you don't want to.
No, I don't know what the fuck I am, but a lot of people say idiot. But
You could add that you're an idiotic agnostic.
yes,
atheist.
exactly, and that's my dad. My dad would just go, yes, that's exactly what you are, because I've given up, Brian. For what happened to me was, I don't know if it was the Percodan or the acid, but one day I came home and I was talking to, I just felt really. For the longest time, I thought there was a God. You know how people always say, yes, I have a personal relationship?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I always thought I was protected. Like if I nearly got caught by the cops, I got away and I thought, God's looking after me.
Yeah.
How old were you?
Yeah. Oh God, I started changing when I was 40.
Okay.
So
Late bloomer.
yeah, late bloomer. I was, and I used to be the guy going. But see, you know what turned me around? When I went to church, I went to a Baptist church to ask. I was brought up Catholic, but I went to a Baptist church because the guy was really nice to me, and I just thought he invited me out, and I want to see what this is all about. So I went out and I understood everything he said, and it was very nice and very warm feeling. I love the feeling
Great
of
music.
I love the feeling of church. I've always said I would live in. I would purchase an old church just to live in it because I love the stained glass. I love the feeling. It's warm, all that. So that's what I miss about church is that, that whole feeling of, hey, how you doing? And hey, everybody's smiling and blah, blah, blah. But when he said to me, he goes, do you know, when I read the Bible, I go, but these guys that wrote the Bible, they're not idiots. They're smart people, right? And he said, yes, they are smart people. And then I talked to another guy about it. And he said, look up Christopher Hitchens. And I watched him, and I thought, what an arrogant goof. And I kept watching him. Going, he's wrong, he's wrong, he's wrong. And at about the 6-minute mark, I go, holy fuck, he's right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And when it hit me all of a sudden, I got really sad because I realized, holy shit, there really isn't a God.
You're not special.
Yeah, I'm not special. I'm not, there's that feeling when he said no one knows who wrote it. Most likely who wrote the Bible were Greeks, and there was no Paul, Matthew, Luke, and John. There were none of those guys. That's like, when they sit there and go, where, like a guy, he said, it makes perfect sense. Where the fuck are you gonna find a guy named, in the desert named Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John? I mean, who are these guys? So
Back then.
yeah, when I put all that together, it was like watching an episode of Clouseau, of Columbo, where you go right at the end, you go, oh, okay, now I figured this out. I'm the idiot. I've been duped. All these people telling me all these things and telling me, well, God has this plan and Jesus died for you. And why did he died for you. And I thought, you know what? I've suffered so much. So and people have suffered so much. 3 days.
Hey, he died for your sins, so don't waste that sacrifice. Go out and sin.
Right.
I love the Doug Stanhope line where he says, you died for my sins. What the fuck does that mean? I hit myself in the foot with a shovel for your mortgage.
Yeah. So to me, after a while, Brian, you start putting things together and you realize, holy shit, it's a big load of shit.
Did you have a religious background, Brian?
I did. I grew up with the same personal relationship with God. So, but it was in my teens that I really started to flourish there. Learning science in school and some of the dinosaur discussions,
yes,
and some of evolution and stuff like that. I mean, I was growing up in a church that believed that the Earth was 10,000 years old. So,
right.
Once I learned a little bit about science and carbon dating, and it was kind of easy to realize, okay, well, at least some of what I'm being taught is wrong.
Now, did you have clues when you were little that something was just did not make sense? Like
I was always really inquisitive about the Bible, and I remember going to CCD, trying to get my first Holy Communion,
right.
And I asked the nun or whatever she was, why God had to kill everybody on Earth if he knew that they were going to disappoint him in advance.
Right.
And I remember her slapping me with a ruler and like on my arm and telling me that you don't question God.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So, and I don't know what age it would have been, 6, 7, 8, something like that.
And those are things.
7 or 8.
Those are things when you think about them at night. Like after when you go home that night, you're like, well, why doesn't like.
That story reminds me of Hitchens' comparison to North Korea.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing. Like, don't ask.
Don't ask. You just shut up and take it. And
I remember my favorite thing in the world was going to the museum, the Toronto ROM, and I would look at the dinosaurs. And I remember being there with a Catholic school. When I must have been 6 or 7, and I'm looking at this giant Tyrannosaurus Rex. And I asked the teacher, I go, how old is this? And she goes, oh, this is millions of years old. And I just said, well, you mean when Jesus was around, this thing was around? No, this wasn't around with Jesus. And I go, okay, so why aren't they here? And she could not, she couldn't answer me. Like, well, why would God make such a vicious creature? Why would he make these animals, these beautiful, these monsters, these huge beasts, and for millions of years, and what are we, like an experiment to him? Like the dinosaurs didn't work out, and he just thought, fuck it, let's get these monkeys, these hairless monkeys, like
yeah.
to me, I felt like, this ant, like going.
The experiment didn't work because he scrapped us once with in the flood, you know.
Right.
Yes, the flood. That's the perfect one where people go.
Then he tried again. So then he tried again, not knowing in advance that we would disappoint him yet again.
Right.
So then he has to send. Well, he has to come down to earth as himself to sacrifice himself to himself so that others can escape his evil wrath.
Yes.
Well, that's only fair.
And
didn't know in advance, even though he knows everything in advance.
yes, and you have to always, every Sunday, you got to go to his house and tell him how great he is.
Yeah.
And give him money.
And give him money, because he's hurting for money. Here's a guy that built the fucking planet and the universe, and he needs a bit of coin.
Needs a little scratch.
You know, to me, when you put everything together, I found it ridiculous that you know what I felt like? I must have felt like, 3,000 years ago with a Roman soldier looking up at a statue of Mars and thinking that was a god, or a Greek looking up at Zeus's statue. And they were all on ships saying, guys, this is, Zeus is angry, the thunderbolts, Thor, whatever god back then was in your culture. And I felt like that idiot on that boat, just going, holy shit, there's not a fucking 1,000,001 gods, and there's not one true god. There's fuck all, guys. So get over it.
So was it a gradual process with you, or was it sort of like a light switch?
Well, there's like phases, I mean, it was gradual. I remember believing in a God that created the universe. Like, it just kept going back in time. So I believed in evolution, so therefore God started life on Earth. He made the primordial soup, and he put the planet here.
Sure.
And then I understood, planet formation and solar system formation, and so then I believed, okay, well, God created like the Big Bang, and you just keep going back, and I had a very close friend, sort of expressed to me that I just kept answering a question with a question, because really I have to say, okay, well, what created God, or what is God, or why do I keep putting this God here?
Right.
There's been all of these times in my life where I didn't have a certain scientific understanding. So I didn't understand evolution at one point, and now I do. And maybe someday I'll understand the Big Bang before the Big Bang, and actually that's that's where my research has been, and I know more and more about it. I actually personally have a belief that a few scientists agree with. It's not the leading theory, but I actually believe that in part because we are part of an expanding universe, that the universe will contract upon itself at some point and then re-expand again, and we're just in a period of never-ending expansion and contraction, and I believe that in part because of the laws of thermodynamics, which I mentioned in the comfort interview, where matter and energy cannot be created or destroyed, so we always have the same exact amount in the universe, and it makes sense if we're expanding now and we started from this singularity that and they talk about how we might not be able to expand forever, that we're just going to contract someday.
Right.
But I don't need to know. I don't need to know, and I fully admit that, like I said, a few scientists agree with me.
Right.
It's not the leading theory, and I accept the leading theory as the leading theory right now. That's the beauty of being somebody who's rational and doesn't have to believe what somebody tells him on Sunday and doesn't read the book for themselves.
Yeah, but
going back a step, by the way, you talked about love in church. There's a lot of atheists like that, and
yeah, I just miss the warmthness of it.
There's a couple that I know that actually go to church and sing and believe in
right,
like the story, like it's Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But then there is sort of a church-ish thing that's slowly gaining steam called Sunday Assembly. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, the guy with the beard, I forget his name. He
was just on CNN.
He was a pastor and he quit, and
I forgot his name. He's actually a very funny guy.
He seems like a pretty reasonable guy. There's no way in hell I'm giving up any more time on a Sunday. But he it's exactly for that. People that miss the sense of community and just being amongst like-minded people.
I would do that, but show porn, like old 70s porn.
Okay.
I just think people love it,
Yeah.
What do you think of if aliens were to land, one of my favorite analogies, Brian, was somebody saying, now picture if aliens were to land and look at like look at this culture and say, these people believe in this type of God and these people believe in this type of God. And that, I mean, if you were an alien, you would sit there and go, okay, some they believe that some guy named Jesus killed himself. Well, the God came down and killed himself for himself. That's what these morons believe in. Like, don't you ever think of...
I actually think there's a couple things that would happen. One, I would have a hunch that they would have some understanding and some empathy for us in the sense that they probably had similar roots in their past. They might also find some humor in that we have allowed religion to hinder our progress so much, because obviously at this point, if they got to us first, they're going to be a lot more technologically advanced than we are.
Right.
Sure.
And I would imagine they would learn just how much we allowed religion to impede our scientific progress throughout
Right.
our lifetimes, or throughout the last few thousand years, including when they scrapped pretty much all scientific knowledge we had during the Dark Ages.
Yes.
Burning of Alexandria, so hopefully they would find some humor in that, because that's really the only way to kind of get over it.
I hope it's Cheech and Chong. I honestly hope it's just two stoners from, they took a wrong turn. They go, holy fuck, it's these earthlings, and they just laugh their asses off.
Stoner aliens.
Yeah, that's, to me, I would love it if it was stoner aliens just going, holy fuck.
Like maybe they got lost or something.
We'd have to get them high in order to get over some of the shit they'd have to see here.
Let's get that Kirk Cameron and play with his ass.
Hey, good news. California banned belief exemption for vaccinations.
What's that?
Oh, no way, that's awesome.
Yeah, California, they're saying now, we don't give a shit what you believe.
Right.
If your snotty-nosed kid wants to go to school, he's got to have a
Yeah.
vaccination.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Isn't it?
So Jim
Yeah.
McCarthy and all our dumbass friends
Oh,
can move
fuck.
to the
Yeah.
state now.
I'm getting sick of people that see, my wife is, she comes from the, as we like to say, the farmer part of the world, where she believes in what farmers believe, and the almanac and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, she's like,
put a poultice on it.
the kids aren't getting their shots. And I go, oh yeah, trust me, they will get their shots. There are some.
You might even have to hide it. I had to hide a little bit of that from my son's mother.
Yeah. It's sad, but when
You got to get them.
yeah, you have to. I
Well,
mean,
yeah.
you're asking for trouble,
Yeah.
Yeah.
If your wife wants to go to medical school and prove how they,
Yeah, and
how
that's
the viruses are bad, and
Yeah.
I mean how the shots are bad, then
Yeah, but Jenny McCarthy's...
all power be to her, and she can get that peer reviewed and
Yeah.
accepted by the medical
I
community,
go-
and then we won't give our kids shots.
Yeah, I go, why don't you, do you like our doctor? Yes, I like our doctor. Do you respect our doctor? Yes, I respect our doctor. And what does he say? He believes it would be a great idea to get the shots.
Right.
Does
Yeah,
he?
but Jenny McCarthy's pretty persuasive.
Oh, she's dumb.
Nah, come on.
Nice tits.
Yeah, that's it. That's all she's got.
Well, that's what I meant.
Yeah, she came up with some stupid thing, how she found the cure.
Oh fuck! She
Yeah.
learned from the World Wide Web. She Googled it.
Yeah. Like, that's the thing. When you were with, what would be awesome? Like, off camera, if when you were talking to Kirk Cameron and you seemed like you were legitimately, like, for me, I would have been kind of, not smitten, but kind of, oh shit, this guy is, I really don't want to make this guy look stupid. But you were very nice, Brian, to say to him, I like you. Like, you're,
Personable.
there's nothing personal here. I just don't believe in your beliefs, And I remember the look he gave you, like he knew that you were sincere about it,
Yeah.
And that was a part of the debate that I love, that you weren't trying to make him look stupid, but you couldn't help it because it was just
Exactly. I feel horrible.
Yes.
That in order to, have the discussion, you do have to make people look stupid.
Yes, and that's something where if this was me 6 years ago, I'd agree with Kurt until he got to the part about the Crockoduck, and then I'd go, oh shit, the pendulum starts swinging, and
You
then he
lost me.
starts talking about all gay people, they need to go, they don't deserve to go to heaven. Then I think, oh no, it's just he kept. If you kept scoring, you said this guy's got 100 points to start. At the end of the discussion, he'd be negative 1 million. you know. So it was something that I think, and I think they should bring those discussions to schools. Like, I've talked to teachers about this, saying you should show these sort of debates
why
to
not?
kids, and show. I mean, it's
They
up.
can't, because I mean, then the parents are going to be so upset because
Yeah.
their kids aren't going to want to be religious.
Yeah,
And
and
it's like school, you know, the school. It's like everybody's allowing Santa Claus to keep being real.
Right.
You know.
right,
Right.
and
And nobody has the strength to speak up, so that's why, you know, people have to do so on the internet, and you know, the kids are going to seek it out. I mean, this generation right now is the least religious generation in history.
right.
I'm so proud of them.
Yeah,
you know?
really.
And I know that it's because of stuff like what we do, and you know what Hitchens has done, and YouTube and Twitter and all this. You know, the way that we spread information in media today.
And you
the
got
religious people, they don't have a leg on us, because science on its own will kick religion's ass, and it just takes somebody searching it out, and everybody's going to come to the same conclusion eventually.
Yes.
By using a more rational approach. So.
Yes, and you got to put yourself in that category too, of the Hitchens and the Dawkins, and because you're helping people out. You're telling them either they could take it or not, Brian. That's all. I mean, either you could, you know what I mean? Like, either you could take it or not. And and most of the time, what I love is it germinates. It'll sit there. You could say, this guy's full of shit. I don't believe him. And then 2 weeks later, you'll start going, well, maybe I should go check out that debate again, just one more time, just to clarify what he was saying. And you go back and you listen, and that's what happened to me. I kept going back and going, it can't be.
Yeah.
It can't be.
Yeah.
And I realized, holy shit, he's right. You know?
I gotta ask, that picture, the background picture on your Facebook page, before or after the debate?
After.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because they both look pretty fucking stunned. They both look like, what just happened?
Like
Like they just got out of a prison movie.
yeah, you guys look.
Really looked like that in the building as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
like
they really, the entire time, Kirk looked like holy shit, what did I get myself into? Why am I with Ray Comfort, and
Yeah.
this happened to my life? I mean, I swear, I'm not.
no, I know,
exactly
I
how it
know.
looked the entire time.
If you watch the debate after, and it shows some clips on YouTube of the debate after, Kurt was and Ray, they look so uncomfortable being there.
Yeah, I'm sure they got over it and in a hurry.
Well,
but,
it's kind
but
of
in that picture, they both look stunned as fuck.
well to me.
I have two funny sidebars for you. One, in there, when Kirk presents the pictures of the Crockoduck, he says something along the lines of like, "We had our team come up with these pictures."
Yes.
The truth is that I believe it was a website called Proof.com, and it's been a while, so I
Right.
could have the wrong website. But they had a contest for Photoshop people online.
Right. That's right.
Make the best animal combination that you could come up with. Kirk and Ray stole those images and then claimed that, you know, whatever we had our people come up with, which one would assume is like they, you know, have people that work for them. who
It's a
made
crack
these
staff.
images, when in reality they were stolen from the internet. So that's one funny sidebar. Two, in the pre-debate planning, with the email exchange between Ray and I, it was like I was distant and cold or something, and so Ray got this feeling like I wasn't going to do it, and Ray is so starved for attention in the
Right.
media that he offered to pay me to show up.
Really?
No way.
I gladly took his money, so he gave us about $1,500
Awesome.
to
Awesome.
show up.
Oh man, I can't. Oh.
And, you know, I just laugh looking back, like, that's the day that Ray Comfort paid me to kick his ass.
Well,
God,
I got,
that's-
That's how I remember that day.
That's like Mike Tyson showing up at kindergarten, paying the kids, you know, like to get the living shit knocked out of them.
Yeah, the
you
other
know,
way
it's
around,
like, can I
yeah.
beat the shit out of your kids?
Right, the other way around. But
Yeah.
well, good news and bad
it was
news.
definitely a highlight of my life. I will remember that check and that day.
He must have thought,
For
like,
a long time.
he hates gay people, but he sure knew what it felt like. I mean, to take that beating in the ass he took.
I got good news and bad news for you, Brian. The good news is we're extremely glad to have you on the show. Bad news is that's about $1,500 more than we're going to pay you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You know,
Well, I was willing to come on here for free, too.
oh, and I remember you also went at it with a guy named, one interview that bothered me that you had was I thought she was so rude to you. I thought she was so like unprofessional. Was Laura Ingraham? Fuck, she was so
Yeah.
rude. You know, so condescending. So to me it was like I watch those sometimes just to go like you are there's no logic to what you're saying.
He's getting all worked up over here.
But what bothers me is why do creationists, people that are Christian, they're the biggest liars of them all? You know, like they'll lie to like if you say the Earth is, and you could prove that the Earth is millions of years old, they'll say no, it's only 6,000. And you could prove to them, but they'll constantly lie, and I find that
lie or move on to the next topic.
right. And for me, and I'm like, if you're a Christian, isn't that the worst thing to do is to lie?
Yeah, but
it's
I
up
think
there.
they excuse themselves when it's defending the faith. But I mean,
Yeah.
every argument. I mean, we came up with this. It was myself and a friend a while ago. We wrote this thing called the theory of inherent dishonesty in theism, which basically states that anytime somebody makes an argument, any argument, and watch this going forward for the rest of your life, you'll see this is pretty cool. Any argument ever made for the existence of God is either ignorant or dishonest or both.
Right.
Right.
And you know, obviously there's all kinds of lying, deception, and moving topics and things like that. But let me ask you something. When you saw the Laura Ingraham or heard the Laura Ingraham interview,
Right.
did you catch that like in a way where you read anything that I had to say about it, or did you just hear the interview?
I just heard the interview.
So did you happen to know that I was muted for about 60-70% of the interview?
I'm sure of it. She kept like you could tell when people get muted, okay? And
Okay, cool.
and that's something where I kept stopping it and telling my buddy that was over, my buddy Tyler, and I was going, you see what they did here? Like I've worked on shows, I've edited stuff, I've never, I've done comedy shows, so, and to me it was like a bad comedy, and it was a bully tactic that she was just so rude, incredibly rude. And you could tell where she was purposely stopping tape, and then she would have some idiot caller at the end going, "Oh, thank God that person you got rid of that person," and
Right.
and it was so. I'm thinking, how do you sleep at night? Like, I know you got a giant dildo, but how do you? To treat a guest like that, I don't. Hey, I could have a Satanist on. I don't believe in any of that, but I'm not going to talk to them like they're. A
little respect.
If I had Satan Bruton cake, I will not. I won't make fun of him in that way. Or I just thought that interview bothered me. I just thought you should if you ever see her, you should really tell her that she's just not a pro.
Did you ever have a moderator for a debate that you found annoying or lopsided?
No, not really. Because I managed to put myself in situations where that wouldn't happen because I saw it happen so many times
Right.
before. That was kind of like the impetus behind our show was like nobody was ever muted on my show. Well, maybe the Matt Slick episode was like no, actually.
No,
the Matt
you
Slick
muted
episode
your
was
own
the other way around.
guys, Brian.
Remember,
You muted your own guys. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, we muted our. I muted my
Yeah.
guys. I mean, I very proudly was the other way. We would have 4 people on our show, but we would be accused from time to time, like 4 atheists or 3 or sometimes 6 atheists. We'd be accused of, well, like he was saying, Matt Slick, of like too many of us are talking. Well, we're only really conveying one issue at a time.
Yes.
And I never muted Matt. I never muted a single guest ever on my show. I always wanted to hear what they had to say. If I felt like something had to be interrupted, I would interrupt and allow them to come back to that point later. I mean, it's just a certain way that you conduct something if you want the general public to actually believe it. What bothers me the most about people like Laura Ingraham is that people listen to her and they do actually believe her. And that doesn't bother me in the sense like it makes me mad. It makes me sad.
Yes.
You talked about how you were sad when you figured out that religion was bullshit
Right.
because you weren't special anymore. I'm sad because look at how many people live this one life that they
Yes.
get with a lie and might never live a day in their life with truth.
Yeah.
Right.
How sad is that? That an entire life will be wasted on every Sunday morning going to church, every time something hurts or something goes wrong, feeling like you can talk to an invisible man in the sky, and never once getting to actually feel like what it feels like to be a human being who's in control of themselves.
Right, and that is a beautiful.
Anything that horrible that happens to you, it's because it's your own fault.
Well, I think why people
crap.
Yeah, why people do that is because I think they're scared to die. You know, all of us. You know, well, most of us. Well, there isn't a day I don't go by where I think, "Fuck, I should hang myself right here." But I think people are just think there's another plan, and to me, that's just wrong way of thinking. If you think there's a better place to go when you're done, you're an idiot.
Well, and why would you waste your time here then?
Yeah, kill yourself now.
Yeah.
You know, but the Catholics will have that. Hey, if you kill yourself, you go to hell.
That's the worst sin.
So you got.
You can watch the way people believe, and you really realize that they don't really, truly, 100% believe.
Yeah,
I get that feeling
too.
too.
They wouldn't be locking their doors. They wouldn't be wearing seatbelts. They
Right.
wouldn't be using parachutes when they jumped out of an airplane.
Right.
You know, these things wouldn't happen because they would just have prayer and trust in Jesus and God. But
Yes.
they don't really have 100% trust in them, so they do conduct their lives in a certain way.
I think it was
It's just this one little spot, this little God box in their spot, you know, in their brain that logic doesn't seep into. That
the ones that
don't really see that going on.
I think it was Stephen Hawking that said even the most religious person looks both ways before they cross the street.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Like what terrifies me is when people instead of bringing their kid in that is sick, they say let's do prayer, and the kid ends up dying, and it's just to me that's
yeah. Well, a couple got charges brought on them
Good.
for that.
That's disgusting.
There's friends in Philadelphia that were part of that church, and one of the kids died from a spider bite. A grandmother died in a car from something. I forget what it was that could have.
Yeah.
Would have gotten to the hospital. She would have been okay because they stopped the car on the side of the road to pray for her when whatever.
Oh man.
It was some sort of attack or something.
Yeah.
I forget what it was.
I
don't think it was that was a heart attack, but you know, it's disgusting that they do this. And
Yeah.
They just have no clue. They care about their family members, obviously, right?
And then what do they say?
This is sad.
Then what do they say when the person
sad for
dies?
these people.
What do they say when the person dies? It was God's plans.
That was God's will.
Yeah, it's God's will.
He is a mysterious motherfucker.
See?
I'll give him that.
You bled to death. Your fucking legs got taken off by the tractor, and that was not our fault. God wanted you.
Yeah, God wants to, but if you believe that you know that you have this afterlife coming, then and you truly believe it, then you look forward to that.
That's why.
I, on the other hand, people they're scared of death. To that I say, well, one, live life, but two, you don't have to die. You can live forever, and how you live forever is by making an impact on this planet that people will remember.
Right.
And doing things for others that will be passed on for generations.
Yes.
Being a good person to your children, to your nieces and nephews, to the kid around the corner who will remember that and be a good person as a result of that. A little part of you will live on forever.
And for no other reason than just to be a good person. No eternal reward, no fear of damnation. Just
you know what? You can have a selfish reason. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with saying, you know what? I'm a good person because I want to be remembered forever.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's okay.
Right.
You know, that's okay. We do things out of selfishness, and that selfishness is a good selfishness. You know, we think of selfishness as bad, but you know, I'm selfish. I do the Rational Response Squad because I'm selfish, because I want to make the world a better place, and that makes me feel good.
Well, I think you're just
me more than I've given to the world.
Yeah, I think to me it just seems like you just want to pass some knowledge that you know. Take it or leave it, guys. That's all. You know,
The fact of the matter is, I don't know how much you dug into me, but you know, I joke that the correct way to describe the relationship with my mother is that I lost my mother to Jesus.
Right.
You know, I feel like it's like losing somebody to cancer or a heart attack.
Right.
I can't have a real relationship with my mother because every conversation is her trying to proselytize to me. And to this day, she really doesn't understand she's never truly taken the time to try to understand what I believe.
Right.
And you would think that if you have a son that's famous about atheism, that you would at least take the time to try to see his point of view. Instead, every conversation is her trying to tell me how she wants to save me from hell.
Yes, but
And
she was
I
hardwired,
have a
though.
relationship with my mother, and as a result, I thought maybe I should help other people to avoid this downfall, like to avoid this problem. So I'm very happy that I know of some situations, at least, that remotely resemble my own, where I have helped the family
Right.
to
That's awesome.
overcome, a family divide because of religion. A father or a mother who left religion, as a result of the work of their child or stuff their child presented to them that they heard from me on the internet. Conversations that I was asked to have with parents that were actually had because the parents are willing to have those conversations.
Wow.
So, that corrected my life,
Right.
and I still have this relationship with my mom, but that corrected my life.
Yeah.
And I think with the moms, I mean, I don't know how old you are, but I know that it was just a very different time for them. They were hardwired to believe that there is a heaven, there is a hell. Everybody believed that. There was no. I mean, the punishment was no one would talk to you. No one would. You would be an outcast. When I was growing up, the word atheist, first time I heard that, I remember it was kind of like the same thing as saying a Satanist.
Oh, it's definitely.
It was presented to me as Satanism.
Yes, and that's what it was. Yeah, and you get that, and so I could understand for so long she had that drilled to her, and same thing with my mom. I mean, they had it drilled to her, but my mom knows that I just every second word is "God damn it" out of my mouth, so she knows where I'm at.
Did you hear about that pastor Hagee there in the States who wants to prosecute women for saying "Oh God" during sex? Did you hear about that one?
No,
Yeah.
he wants to prosecute him.
Yeah, illegally. He wants to make it illegal to take the Lord's name.
But
in
she
vain.
could easily go, I was calling Zeus.
Well, that's not the right one.
There are locations where blasphemy is illegal on this planet right now. So
Yeah. Well,
hey.
that's what Numbnuts wants. He wants. Yeah.
Well, folks, Brian, we're talking to Brain Sapient, who is the founder and president at the Rational Response Squad. I know his time. He's got so much on his plate, and to have him on, he did us a huge favor. And I thank you so much, Brian, for spending a bit of time with us and giving us some info. Any plugs or anything you want to shoot out?
I also own celebatheist.com, which is a really great repository of quotes from celebs that show that they're kind of like you and I, for the person who is a little bit scared about what they are thinking about now that they're listening to this show and saying, you know what, I don't believe either. And there's plenty of celebrities that feel the same way you do. Sometimes that makes it a little bit more palatable.
Right.
Another site that's important to me that I maintain is atheismunited.com, which is a project designed to display every atheist website in the world, and it's a wiki page, and so anybody can add a link to it for their atheist website, and it is currently the largest list of links for atheist websites on the internet. So anybody who has a website on there, an atheist website, or their best friend's atheist website, make sure that they see it on that list.
So that's got to be fairly closely monitored, so that people like your friend Laura Ingraham won't put up some decoy site saying that atheists are Satanists and all that kind of shit.
I don't know.
We definitely. It's a wiki, so it's monitored all the time, and if somebody puts a bad link on there.
We had to end this on a low. You had to bring up that fucking bitch.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. I'm sorry about that, Brian. It's kind of like in the middle of an interview, as we're saying bye, I just pull down my pants and take a shit. That's fantastic. Beautiful. Right on the table. Let's bring up that fucking bimbo.
All right. I listen to you guys in advance. I make sure to work tit into the interview at least once, and now I just said it twice. So
perfect.
I'm trying to get on your level.
Oh, don't ever, Brian, don't ever get on our level.
There's no coming back.
Oh, you'll never. Oh, dude, we're Homer Simpson kind of fucking guys. We don't we like donuts and porn.
Yeah.
So, but I do appreciate you spending the time, Brian. You're one of the people that I reached out to because I just thought, you know what, I really enjoy watching this guy, his work. I love how you handle yourself when you go up against anybody. The debates you do, I thought they were just so, you're a class above some of the other debaters I've watched where you just go.
Thanks so much.
So you know what you're doing, and I hope you nothing but continue success at it, and you help change people's minds.
I'm still stuck on the banana thing.
No, I love the banana thing. That to me is
What a fucking idiot.
I guess we should tell people that they can see a lot of the, or listen at least to a lot of the content on it, like on YouTube. So,
yeah, that's what I did. That's what I did,
Yeah.
and that's how I found you. I found you through YouTube, and I'm thankful I did because the videos you have on there, you could watch the, I tell anybody, watch the Matt Slick interview he does, and even when Kelly went on his show, she did an awesome job. And we're, it's just you've got a good organization there, and they know what they're doing. The Rational Response Squad, they're all pros. They've studied the Bible. And each one of them have a certain each. I think of the five deadly. Remember the Kung Fu movie?
Yeah.
The five deadly.
The Seven Samurai. Or
whatever. The Seven Samurais, the five, whatever the fuck they're called.
Yeah.
Anyways, all those guys all have a different skill, and each one of them could go in there with history or geology or philosophy, whatever their skills are. So it's kind of like you're going up against a dragon with 5 heads.
Yeah.
So it's really, really cool.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Brian. I want you to enjoy your Sunday. I'm going to church tomorrow. I'm just throwing myself up front and just to hang out. I miss the free bread. So thanks so much, Brian.
And the blood.
And the
wine,
and the
representing
blood.
Oh,
I
God.
miss confession. I
That's
go.
not a cult. Let's eat somebody's body and drink their blood.
Yeah. That.
And you get it from a guy who's wearing a skirt.
Oh,
Yes.
and how many times do you think he was just in the other side of the confessional, just tugging away?
Hey, I told you.
Beautiful girl goes in there?
People tell me, they go, hey, what about these priests touching kids, and what about that? And I'm like, my priest didn't touch any kid. He was just gay.
Nah.
You
You're just upset because he didn't touch you.
That's what it bothered me. I told him, I said, like, I was a good-looking kid, and you not once did you touch me. So that pissed me right off. Okay, so folks.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate
you.
your time, Brian. Thank you so much, and enjoy your Sunday. And I'll put this up in a bit.
Thanks a lot. You too.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank
Folks,
you.
you've been listening to the Wrecking Crew with the Wrecking Crew comedy podcast with Vito D'Amico.
And Mark Arts.
And please like us on Facebook. Let us know what you think. And folks, it was a blast.